March 31st, 2026. I hate how much violence there is in the world. I hate how inescapably violent the world is. You have the violence of ICE, of course, right now. It's a new violence. And you got the violence of the Iranian war, the violence in Venezuela, in Iran before the recent increasing hostilities and outright war. And then you have the economic violence of Cuba, the barricade, Democrats and Republicans alike celebrating as Cubans suffer. And Cuba, of course, is holding together. They have community there. They have unity. They're trying to do what they can, riding the bike more, using using less fuel. But as it stands for the United States of America, the goal of the blockade was always to destroy their infrastructure. Whether it happens or not doesn't change the fact there was violence. And in our country, with violence it's just everywhere. The police, they raid homes. They can raid homes without any real cause, without even suspicion of a crime. And remember, the crimes they can suspect you of are things like possessing certain drugs, possessing medication that you're not supposed to have, quote unquote. Not supposed, according to laws from the 1970s, right? Laws from the 1970s. And then with the AI rollout, you've got more violence there. But I want to hammer in that this isn't about Trump. This isn't a new thing. This always was. Even before Trump's first term, this violence exists. I mean, Ferguson happened under Obama. Journalists reporting on a protest, watching police officers brutalize protesters, and then the police officers came into McDonald's and it's horrible. It's horrible. I hate how violent the world is. How violent the world is. And the violence that is perpetrated by our system, it is legal. It is legally protected. You cannot interfere with it. People get ripped off the streets and no one does anything. People's homes get broken in and nothing happens afterwards. You can have a video of everyone involved, 100% match, 100% confirmation who it was, and nothing happens. I've suffered violence personally, extensively, and never got any compensation, any assistance, none. This is one of the many reasons why I don't get along with the whole idea that, I mean, I'm not going to pretend like we have a civilized society, like anything about this world is civilized. We use violence. Violence to keep people in line. Violence of neglect. Violence of starvation. Violence of homelessness. There's violence inherent in all of that. And as exposed as you are, you're also vulnerable to violence from the people around you. Even the non-official forms of violence. Teenagers urinate on homeless people. People steal each other's items. And of course the police love to harass homeless folks too. And you've got the violence of our institutions that aren't police. The medical industry, they have a long history with violence. A long history. They are closely tied to violence. It still is. Folks, they're still grabbing people, disappearing them to do sick experiments on them. To drug them and rape them. It still happens all the time. And we become desensitized to the terms. Involuntary commitment. It's so sterilized. Such a prescriptive, institutional, lifeless term. It sounds like something you'd hear about in an HR training. And yet we have people being abducted off the street, disappeared, under guise of that. Everyone talks about it when it's China. In this country, we'll show pictures of vans pulling up and grabbing people off the streets. But folks, we got that in the US too. It's just not in China. The US one is worse because they charge you for it too. I mean, you can arguably dispute the charges, but... And you got all those privately run camps. They traffic children. Child trafficking. They rape children. Brutalize children. Harass children. That's when those children, that's for the children that aren't massacred in our schools or abducted off our streets. I wish the world wasn't so violent. Over the last couple of years, I've become increasingly aware of how violent the world is. And it hurts me. I hate it. I hate the mentality of violence. I hate the idea that violence is inevitable. That the only way we could really fight back against this violence is with our own violence. I hate it. I don't want violence. But as it stands, if you have 200 kids being held in a camp, do you leave them there? Or do you break in? Nothing else will really stop the operations. You could run in and release the kids, but then they can be kidnapped and taken back. I remember reading about a family that their teenage daughter was being held as a revenge, I suppose, for a parent criticizing an institution, a hospital. Let me see if I can pull up that story. I have the case right here. Escape from the Mayo Clinic. Parents break teen out of world-famous hospital. Alyssa Gilderhoos, 18 and a senior in high school, had been a patient at Mayo for about 2 months, ever since having a ruptured brain aneurysm on Christmas Day. Mayo refused to let her transfer to another hospital, even after a lawyer wrote a letter asking Mayo to make the arrangements. Alyssa and her family began to suspect that Mayo was trying to get a guardian appointed to make medical decisions for her, to take her in as ward of the state, 2 county adult protection agencies, trying to kidnap her. Now, the backstory for this, the family and the clinic had various disagreements because it sounds like the hospital was neglecting her. That's irrelevant to what happens afterwards. Just supposedly Amber swore at the staffers, and as a result, in revenge, they kicked her out, but they also attempted to kidnap her daughter. 2 nurses had been assigned to watch over her at all times. "They're watching every move you made," said Joyce Smith. On February 26th, staffers took her cell phone, laptop, and tablet after finding she was making a video. I wonder what that video was about. Visitors were also banned from bringing any devices to record what was going on. This is a full-on abduction operation. And I want you to pay attention to what happens when they actually get this girl out of the hospital. Which they have to do through a crazy method. There's a video. And they had their 9-year-old daughter recording the incident too. To prove, because they knew there'd be false allegations pressed. The nurses, of course, run after, try to keep this person hostage. This is her stepfather and mother. You know, people who do care about her, who she wants to be with. A nurse grabbed her. Are any of these people going to get charged with assault, kidnapping? No, of course not. And what did they do? They called in the police, the state-sanctioned violence force. Patient abduction, they said. I want to show you the video.
It felt like we went from a healing place to a prison.
So Alyssa's parents hatched an escape plan. They pulled a trick on the staff to get her out of Mayo, and they documented it on video.
Quick.
But when they arrive at the car, there's no Grandma Betty.
Come on, babe.
It's Alyssa's mother.
Going home.
Watch as a nurse's aide grabs Alyssa's arm.
Yes, she is. She's signed out. Come on, honey, we're going home.
How did it feel the minute that you hopped into your parents' car?
Like a relief. Like the biggest weight on your shoulders pulled off.
Then, the hospital attempts to seize this person back. They're not even in the building. They lie repeatedly in the process, and they get caught lying. Here they say, Alyssa cannot make decisions for herself. And the mom has mental health issues. What a broad description. By the way, that includes everyone who's transgender. And hell, it includes people who are gay. It also just includes every single person, because the criteria is all kind of based on vibes. So anyone can be charged with that. I expect that's going to take off soon in the United States of America. Oh, actually, no, it already has. It's already being used. John Sherwin, captain of investigations, says there was no abduction. This was done under her own will. You had a patient that left the hospital under their own planning. To which the clinic then used the old-fashioned involuntary commitment to abduct her again. Now, I mean, we can go through the whole process of how they ran away. It's not really relevant, except that they had to flee. This story is from 2018, the one at the Mayo Clinic. I bring it up only because it's still relevant. Nothing ever changes for the better in this country. That has been true for my entire existence. No one ever gets more rights. We just lose rights. Well, I mean, I guess gay marriage in 2015. But that's it. Like, the only increased civil right I can think of is gay marriage, which people on the right wing argue is judicial activism, like it wasn't really in the Constitution. And frankly, I don't know. Maybe that's true. I appreciate it if it was judicial activism. I appreciate that. It's certainly evident that the judiciary is doing a whole lot of activism for Trump right now. So it's not like that's unrealistic to have... Sorry. It's not like it's unrealistic for the judiciary to be stepping in and changing laws for their own benefit. There was a conservative that was a part of a key swing on that vote. That's the same reason that you have people on, that you have private businesses that have a right to discriminate against gay people. That the same swing vote that decided that gay marriage was legal was also the one that decided that Christian bakeries have a right to decline people a wedding cake if it's a same-sex couple. You know, because Sky Daddy says so. Sky Daddy says. That's all the reason you need. that's not where I meant to go with this video. I mean, fine, but the topic is violence, and now that tangent with the hospital was a bit of a diversion from, or a bit of a narrow look, and we can step back and see the whole forest for the trees. American culture as a whole, it only knows violence. It only knows coercion. It only knows threatening. They threaten you with losing your home. They threaten to take away your job, your source of food. Right now, the Heritage Foundation is trying to coerce people into straight heterosexual relationships with children. Well, okay, straight heterosexual relationships in which they produce children. The Heritage Foundation is not trying to make more pedophiles. They are the pedophiles. Okay, the Heritage Foundation is trying to make more pedophiles, but in policy terms, they're trying to make people have more children. You know why? Because they're pedophiles! How else are the billionaires supposed to get off? They have to pay the Heritage Foundation to make more children. If people stop having children, then billionaires stop having cum dumps. What are we supposed to do? How are the billionaires supposed to get off if they don't have children? How are the billionaires supposed to live their lives if they don't have, if we're not constantly putting out more children, more fodder for the machine, and more sex toys for their cocks? Hey, I'm sure there's a billionaire woman too who like has a vagina and rapes children that way. That's probably true. Yeah, her name is Maxwell. Ghislaine Maxwell. But there's probably others. Maybe. Maybe not. That's the one thing about me doing things like that is the one thing about CPTSD that's actually makes life manageable. Like, I just went on that whole tangent, and I find that funny. I find that funny that I went on that tangent. It just happened. Alright, well, I want to get back to the topic. Our social services are themselves incredibly valuable, and intentionally so. I think the medical world is the worst in terms of, like, subversive violence, coercive violence, as we saw there. I'm not saying that the medical world is worse than that of other types of violence. Like, we're the school shooting country, okay? Like, there's a lot of bad shit. But I think I focus on the medical world because all other types of violence, or at least, sorry, the types of violence used by police, by school shooters, by terrorists, that type of violence is it's so straightforward. There's really nothing to say about it. Big gun, guy comes in, kicks in door, beats up people, shoots people, black man on the side of the road, and they put their knee on their neck. Like, it's all very straightforward. Is that violence? Yeah. Is it justified? Well, that actually promotes a political debate, because, see, half of the country, more than half the country, 65% of the country, thinks that that violence is okay against some people, and those people are gay people, or trans people, and or Hispanic people, and or immigrants. 65 is an understatement if we're talking about immigrants. If we're bringing in immigrants, it's higher than 65. If we're bringing in mentally ill people, or people deemed mentally ill, which, you know, the Mayo Clinic case was about, the Mayo Clinic case was about revenge. The method of doing so was branding someone mentally ill, and branding another person incompetent. If we're talking about people who the viewer thinks are mentally ill, the percentage is way higher than 65%. It's probably at that point like 88%. Because I feel like I'm constantly being called a fucking woke loser for suggesting anything to the contrary, and I'm a little tired of that. Genuinely so tired of dealing with people, though. For real. It's the medical violence that I think I could see going unchecked indefinitely. Like, well, I would have said that. Okay, so this is one of those things where I'm coming at this from my, like, 2024 perspective, 2023 perspective, and, like, blanking out the 2025 perspective, which is that actual physical violence on the streets can also go unchecked. I think I said this in my first video. Did I just think I was going to say this? Talking about how you can't feel safe outside in America anymore, even in broad daylight, even in a crowd of people, because I have seen people in a crowd of people get abducted, raped, and disappeared. With police there, without police there, with them begging the police to take them so they don't get dragged into some stranger's car. Every case, police did nothing. Did nothing. The people around did nothing. Did nothing. Violence is really the only means of action in this country. Everything uses violence. The medical system uses violence to milk patients. The financial system uses violence to subdue people. Our economic system uses violence to keep people in line. When people were laughing about Charlie Kirk, what did the Heritage Foundation, what did the Charlie Kirk Memorial do? What did they do? Right. They used violence. They threatened to take away people's jobs. They threatened to report people to their family and friends and employers to get them isolated, which is itself a form of violence. I'm sure we all see I hope we all see the trend here, the issue. And I am tired of living in violence. The only real remedies, though, are itself violence. I mean, when I think about, like, what would you do, right? What do? We live in a world of violence. What do you do? Well, I could do violence against myself by killing myself. I could shoot myself right now. Why don't I? I don't know. Maybe a part of me definitely hopes to be shooting someone else someday. And people will come in and say, oh, violence isn't the answer. Violence is the entire plane of existence. This entire nation revolves around violence, and it controls the world order, so it makes the whole world revolve around violence. One nation can start and stop a war with a phone call. Well, at least before Donald Trump's second term. But you know what? They still can. We still got like 180 nukes. I hate it, but we are the world power that controls everything. We're infinitely more powerful than China and Russia combined. The whole reason that the people in the United States have been taught to fear China and Russia is because China and Russia are the second and third contenders. We're taught to hate China and hate Russia because China and Russia might be building up minor networks of world powers. The United States of America has a major network of world powers. We control fucking everything. We control South America. We control Latin America. We control Central America. We control nations in Europe. Japan. Hawaii is not a part of the United States of America. Or, sorry, it's not a part of the American continent, and yet we control it. The whole reason we got Alaska is so we could have land right near Russia. The USA controls the world. I hate it, but it's true. And it does so through violence. And the people in the USA who are controlling our lives, who are ruining our lives, who are terrorizing us, they do so through violence. Not just the violence of ICE and police, but the violence of our hospitals, of our employment systems, of benefits being cut and held in the balance, of Newsom's care courts, which abduct people and steal all their money. Fucking Newsom. Y'all, I swear to God, you know what? Maybe this is why I'm alive. If Gavin Newsom becomes the presidential candidate of the Democrats, I am shooting him. I remember in 2023, I was like, I hope someone shoots Elon Musk. And I didn't do it. And I was thinking I should shoot Elon Musk. And that, like, thought grew and grew and grew. And I didn't do it. And then 2025, I beat myself up for a whole fucking year over not killing Elon Musk. I am not missing my shot on Gavin Newsom. I am at least trying to take my shot. And I will come in wearing a cape, a red cape, and dress like the kid, and I'll be like, I wanna be the guy! And then I'm gonna shoot the fuck out of that guy. Epic, yes. I will do so, I promise. I real. If you see someone on the news doing that, it's me. It's me. Or I paid someone else, but I kind of doubt I'm getting someone else. I wouldn't trust someone else to do it. That's me. Whoever does it, it's me. I'm the one. I call dibs. But to be clear, if someone else wants to do that, I'll please God do. Because I'd love to not be the only chance that we have of stopping Newsom. I'll wait till after the Democratic primary, and you can bet I'm going to fight like hell in the ways that I have to advocate for AOC or whoever the leading progressive is. Which is probably going to be AOC. I can't imagine it's anyone who isn't Cortez. Sorry, Bernie. I love you, Bernie, but I don't think you're gonna be the president. AOC, I believe. Where is it going? Oh yes, the violence. Yeah, I'm not gonna do any of that stuff, probably. I'm exhausted every day. Some days I can't even get myself... I can barely get myself out of bed, and I can't get myself to work. So, I'm probably not going to be doing any of that. That's the sad reality, isn't it? But of course I'm exhausted. And of course people in this country are tired down, worn down all the time. Because we live in a nation of violence. And we're constantly being threatened with violence. There's two avenues you go. You're either paranoid and afraid, or you just become numb to it. These last couple of years, we've just seen how little our systems help us. And I'm sure people 20 years ago would have said the same thing. The Patriot Act was probably their awakening. Guess what? I was born numb to it because I just grew up knowing most of this is just like the way that the world worked. I didn't know a world before the TSA. I didn't know a world before 9/11. I guess that's why I make these videos, is to shout from the rooftops. Hopefully wake someone else up to the reality that this is not how people should exist. That this is not healthy. This is not safe. This is not rational. This is terrorism. We live under terrorism. And I'm all too afraid that even if MAGA falls, the tech bros are going to come in, sweep in, and control the opposition again. That they'll come in, they'll be like, oh, we were just coerced by Donald Trump. Oh, Mr. Trumpy was mean and he was going to take away our businesses, so we had to bow to him. We had to enable his genocide. I say that because that's exactly what people said. What the big businesses said after they bribed Richard Nixon. The corporations who bowed to Richard Nixon, who gave him money, come Watergate, come the whole scandal of his bribery, well, those corporations all said they were forced into it. And you know what? Congress gave them a pass back then. And really, why are we to believe that Congress has learned anything different now? Why are we to believe the American people have learned anything different now? People were pissed about Nixon. People were pissed. And then they elected Reagan off of the anti-government sentiment. Same party. Because, really, what does the party difference matter? I'm so tired of this. I'm so tired. I want to say I can't do it anymore, but what that means is that I'm going to barely do anything while still trucking through this, because just existing takes everything from me. People are so nasty. That's what it is. I don't believe that there is a good to humanity. I don't believe it's good versus evil. I think it's people who are threatened right now are a lot of the people calling against violence. Fuck, you know what? Imagine that I had, like, if I had a gun and a panel of tech bros, I'd shoot them all down. Am I not too violent? I mean, it's specific people. It's a different type of violence, but yeah, of course, a person who's only known violence, and my whole plan, my whole dream is just more violence enacted by me against people I don't like, or at least against someone who I do like against those who I don't. Or against someone who I really dislike by someone who I dislike maybe more. Like, if Chuck Schumer was being shot dead by Donald Trump, do you think I would cry about that? Not at all. I'd cheer. That would make my day. That would probably make my week. I'd probably have a week of actually feeling empowered and being able to work a little bit. And at least not feel shitty all the time. Like when Charlie Kirk died. At least the people who do violence, at least they have some impact on the world. Because the rest of us, we can go here, we can sit here, we can dilly-dally. I mean, this is really the best embodiment of how ineffective everyone in the United States of America has been. Oh, we go around blowing whistles when ICE is here. But you're not actually stopping ICE. Like, for some reason, people have decided ICE has a right to terrorize people. Because, yeah, you might herd the ICE agents out of a neighborhood, but, like, were any of you actually going to physically fight them? They're out here physically killing people. They are killing people, abducting people, massacring people, and our response is just peaceful. Only peaceful. Always peaceful. Even in Minneapolis and St. Paul, they got a whole network together, but they don't do shit about the actual people doing violence. Why is it sheep versus wolves? Why do we never fight back? Why do we just sit here while we're being terrorized? Why do we sit by and let it happen? Or get together and move in massive peaceful protests, but never nonviolent. Never violent. Always nonviolent. Always putting ourselves, because why? Why do we do this? We put this handicap on ourselves. We allow them to kill us. And our mechanism of fighting back is putting on gas masks, but never actually firing back. Oh, the Insurrection Act. Oh, the government's gonna do something bad. Are they gonna bomb our cities? If so, let them. I'm sick of living like this. I am sick of dealing with the shit from people. The shit treatment I've gotten constantly from people. Online, in person, rejected by my family, and abandoned by every institution. I am sick of that. I'm so fed up with the way that people treat themselves and treat me. I am so angry. I am so fed up with this system. And look at me, I'm jumping back and forth and talking into a microphone. Oh, I got over my fear of using my voice on the internet. Oh, okay, yeah. Because I voice trained it to a neutral tone. Doesn't change the fact that I always, my whole life, figured that I'd be victim of sexual harassment on the internet. Because that was a thing that happened all the time on the internet. Back when I had a more effeminate tone. You have a feminine body, you're the victim of violence. And I mean, look at what the number one, at least in the South, the top mode of violence against trans men, trans masculine people who have a vagina. What is the number one form of violence? Rape. They rape them. You know how they detransition trans men, trans boys? You know how they detransition them? They rape them. And they let pregnancy feminize their body. And now, in our prisons, what is happening to our trans masculine prisoners, and trans feminine too? Forced conversion. And what they said about the trans masculine folks is particularly insidious. This here is a Substack. I'm not editing this. Okay. Hello? Yeah, put up the thing. I'm taking one quote here. Aim of preserving their fertility. Of trans men. Fertility of trans men. Created the prison policy, taking these studies, how soon the detransition, you know, the denied their testosterone trans men be able to carry children. Heritage Foundation, what have they been constantly yapping about? Children. Women should have children. Marry men, have children. And they view trans men as women.